Hey there, Grumpy Old Fart here. I'm doing an advanced Dungeons and Dragons advice video on Oriental Adventures martial arts. Before I get into this though, if you enjoy my content, it would really help me out if you could hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, share my content on social media, and post a comment or two. Remember, I welcome your comments, even if you disagree with me. If you enjoy a good book, check out my author page on Amazon.com. My pen name is H.L. Anderson. You can find all of my books there. I like to think I write good stories that make you think. I hope you find some of my books that interest you, and I hope you enjoy them. My next project to come out should be a tabletop role-playing game called Outlaw Trails. It's set in the Old West. I tried to make it as realistic as possible while keeping it as simple as possible. A person who's brand new to tabletop role-playing should be able to pick up this book and in a very short period of time, a few hours, be able to actually run games. Not just make a character and play, but actually run games with their families and friends. I designed it that way on purpose. And if you're an experienced gamer, you should be able to take this game and have hours and hours of fun in the Old West. All right, back to AD&D advice. Oriental Adventures martial arts. One of the things many dungeon masters underestimate or overlook when they allow Oriental Adventures characters and classes into their Occidental or Western campaigns is martial arts. These martial arts can seriously upset any Occidental campaign. First off, let me say that since anyone can learn martial arts, your Occidental player characters will want to learn them from the Oriental player characters. Common sense says there's nothing you can do to stop that from happening. However, there are some things you can do to limit this. And trust me, you do want to limit it. A little coffee there to wet my whistle. Gotta have good coffee in your life. Most martial arts were jealously guarded secrets, which most practitioners were loath to share. People who taught martial arts to those deemed unworthy or without permission were very often killed. Bruce Lee, the famous martial artist, movie star, almost died when he opted to train Occidental pupils. This was real life. In real life, they tried to kill him. So, yeah. In many Oriental lands, practicing a martial art was deemed illegal. They weren't allowed weapons, so they had to find some other way to do it. There's a story, a historic event that happened. There was a ruler in China who sent his army to attack somebody else, a different ruler's army. And while his army was gone, another army was coming to attack him, and he was going to die. He had no way to stop them. So he contacted one of the local monasteries. I want to say it was a Shaolin monastery, but don't quote me. And these monks sent 12 of their number to defend this ruler. The invading army was 5,000 strong. The 12 monks defeated them. All 5,000 of them. Trained soldiers. These 12 monks defeated them. This scared that ruler so badly that he ordered all those temples, all those monasteries destroyed, and he outlawed Kung Fu. Yeah, this scared the shit out of people. And in Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, martial arts are, oh my god, devastating. A person with martial arts, you may as well count them as 3 or 4 levels higher than they normally would be, at least. Well, it depends on the martial art and how they use it, but they can be extremely devastating. The second thing you can do, many Occidental people had preconceived notions about Oriental customs, and many player characters probably think martial arts are just too weird to learn, at least initially. Now, given time, this prejudice could be overcome, but it will delay the sharing of the secrets of martial arts. Make it a social stigma, as it were. Number three, the language barrier will probably prevent the sharing of these secrets to some degree. Common in Western lands is a trade language. That's the way I treat it. If they're not trading with them, those people would have no concept of that trade language. Therefore, there will be a language barrier, and you can use that to stymie the sharing of martial arts. And the fourth one, many Oriental classes will look at Occidental player characters with derision and some degree of disgust. This will need to be overcome before any sharing can occur. Um, yeah, make it more social stigma. Do that, and there's other ways to do it, but those are the main ones that I use, and they seem to work pretty well. The reason you want to limit such sharing in the first place is that martial arts can seriously destroy any campaign. Let's take a look at a character who just knows the bare bones basics of one of the easier martial arts listed in the book, karate. Okay, just basic karate. He doesn't know any of the fancy maneuvers, he just knows the basics. This character is stripped naked and is weaponless. Ready? His punch does equal damage to a short sword, 1d6. He gets 2 attacks every round. His armor class is 8, even buck naked. He gets all of this for 1 weapon proficiency slot. And that's not having learned any of the special maneuvers. Okay? There are rules that allow far more dangerous and effective martial arts to be created. And God forbid a character learns 2 different really great martial arts and combines them, which is also legal and it's in the rules. You just got to read them. The way martial arts works is 1 proficiency must be spent for the basics, and then another proficiency must be spent for each special maneuver desired in ascending order of difficulty. In other words, you have to get all the ones labeled 1, then you have to get all the ones labeled 2, then you have to all the ones labeled 3, right? So the special maneuvers are for lack of a better word, powers, and they're just freaking nasty. For example, the same guy who's buck naked and just knows the basics of martial arts, right? Okay, the second proficiency slot that he spends in his karate proficiency gives the player character the option to take strike 1, which is Iron Fist, and basically his punch does a D10 damage. He gets kick, or he can take kick 1, which is a circle kick doing double damage, 2d6. He can take move 1, which he's allowed 2 attacks per round. The first attack can be used as a feint, sacrifice essentially as a feint attack, so that the second attack gets a +2 to strike. Or he can get mental 1, which is meditation like a Shukinya. 1 hour of meditation equals 2 hours of sleep, and while he's meditating, he's immune to hunger, immune to thirst, and immune to heat and cold. Yeah, and this is just for 1 extra proficiency slot. It's freaking nasty. Tell me that's not ridiculously overpowered. Now, keep in mind, in Oriental martial, in the Oriental Adventures, if everybody's playing that and everybody has access to it, it's okay. You put that kind of a martial art in an Occidental setting, and you're just asking for trouble. Imagine 6 player characters, a wizard, a cleric, a thief, and 2 fighters who can do a d6 damage with a punch, and all have 2 attacks per round, and all of them get a bonus of 2 to their armor class, along with all of their other abilities and spells, all of that for an expenditure of 1 weapon proficiency slot. Yeah, that's just freaking nasty. If you let Oriental player characters into your game, I would highly recommend that you impose a language barrier and then impress on the Oriental character that if anyone learns their martial art, it's a serious loss of honor, which is big in the Oriental characters, in the Oriental Adventures. Also, most of their Oriental peers will be honor bound to kill them. Okay? Explain that this is a cultural issue, and while honor might not mean much to most Occidental player characters, it still means a lot to Oriental player characters, regardless of where they are. The decision to teach these arts to anyone should be a huge, huge deal. The pupil must earn the right to learn these skills. For example, saving the teacher's life or some other noteworthy act. Saving 1,000 orphans from a raging forest fire or something big like that. And risking his life to do it. Okay. This should not be taken lightly. Read up on the rules for the martial arts in pages 101 to 106 in the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Oriental Adventures rulebook. I made it a point to create 20 or so odd martial arts as per the book for my players to choose from. This gave them plenty of options and limited the player in the creation of original martial arts. Players who create original martial arts are like players who create original spells. Their spell will be a first level spell that levels mountains and rewrites reality across continents given any leeway whatsoever. Players who create martial arts must be held to account and kept within the rules. They will want to go hog wild with it. Now, here's another thing you can tell them when they complain that you're limiting them like that. What you can tell them, very simply put, is if you learn multiple martial arts with the different special maneuvers that you want, you can later on combine all of these martial arts into your own style. And that is in the book. It is legal. Again, you want to limit the amount of martial arts being spread around in your Occidental game. If you're running an Oriental game, knock yourself out. Everybody can have them. No big deal. But if you're running an Occidental game, yeah, it can be seriously bad. So, I hope this advice helps. I really do. And again, I'm not trying to tell you how to run your game, but I'm trying to help you run a better game. I've been doing this a long time, and feel free to use, abuse, ignore, or change whatever I say in these videos. I'm just trying to help you run a better game. The whole point is to have fun. I hope everybody has fun. All right. You folks have a good day. God bless one and all. Vanguard 1, Devo Polan, a scientific representative from a pacifist race called the Gandhiri, has come to Earth to learn the one thing that humans do better than anyone else in the galaxy: to fight. In the sequel, Task Force Terminus, Earth is at war with an alien race called the Amdola. Devo Polan's new commission in the Terran fleet exposes him to bigotry and treachery, and he comes to realize that sometimes political and military maneuvering are one and the same.